what's up, everybody? This is Scotty from Duffy's again for episode 3 of our podcast. Episode 2 taking a little bit longer to edit, but today I have Eric. Eric is just started last week. This was your second
last
week.
was my first full week.
Yeah. What? Let me ask you this: when you started, were you nervous? Was it like a typical job?
Not particularly nervous.
Yeah.
I was more excited to be here. Really.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming.
So are you your first cousins with Grant, right?
Right. Correct.
So your last name is Foster?
It's Foster.
Right? Yeah, okay. I've been wondering that for the past 2 weeks, actually, because I knew, obviously, you were related to him. Because one of the things that even he said before you got hired, he was like, just because Eric's related to me, bully him. No, I'm just kidding. He is.
Right. No, I get it.
It is one of those things, though. It's cool to me that, you may not be exactly related to Mr. Duffy, but it's cool that you came here to work, too.
Right.
Did you get the idea from Grant?
Right. Yeah. Right when Grant really had started working here, I was just getting out of the Army and had come here, looking for a job. I ended up deciding to go somewhere else at the time. But it had always been kind of in the back of my mind to want to work dogs, be around dogs. And so I'm glad that I'm finally here,
I had absolutely no idea that you were in the Army.
Yeah.
I had no idea. How long were you in the Army?
7 years. 7
wow.
years active duty.
Did you go in right at 18?
No, I graduated high school and I did one semester of college and decided it wasn't for me. And really, I walked into a public speaking class and I was supposed to give a speech the first day, so I walked out and never came back to school.
Is that, you told me you're not a big fan of talking, or you don't talk much?
I'm just not a big talker in general. Never have been, but whatever,
Obviously, you've seen from me in the past couple weeks, you could say I am a big talker. I don't know what it is. When I was in school, college, one of my last classes was public speaking, and I ended up having to do a speech on stage. And it was great because they gave us a random topic. They had no idea of what we did before, we went to college. But they gave me a random topic and they said, "We need you to talk about Boy Scouts." And I said, that is literally the easiest thing that I could talk about. That's perfect. Because I was in scouting for 15 years, probably, around there, if you include Cub Scouts. But I think that was really what set me on that path of, I do kind of like to talk a lot.
Right.
And I tell people in lessons, I'm like, well, especially lessons, we give more corrections to people in the lessons than we do the dogs. But I talk so much in lessons or evaluations. I tell them, actually, Grant told me, if I need to be interrupted, if you need to ask a question, do it. I talk so much now. But I was a nervous wreck when it came to that before. In high school, playing sports, I was the team captain in soccer, my final year of playing. And this was just this wasn't school. This wasn't at North Harrison. This was at an indoor league. I was leading the team, right?
Right.
But they wanted me to boost some confidence because we were in the championship or whatever. It was an indoor league, so it wasn't huge or nothing. But I didn't want to do that. I was nervous to do that. But
right.
What made you decide you wanted to start working here? You said, you always had that feeling that you wanted to work dogs. Is there a moment that a switch flipped and you're like, you know what, I kind of want to go to Duffy's and work there?
Yeah, I mean, before this I was beekeeping down in Florida.
That's right. Yeah.
And I did that for a couple of years and I just was ready to move on to something. I was ready to come back home, come back to here. And this just felt like a perfect fit, because I'm not the kind of person that can sit behind a desk all day, I need to do something that's active, but I didn't really want to do labor anymore.
Yeah.
So this is a good fit. Yeah.
I just talked to Heidi about that, actually. I took programming in high school, and I was telling her, I was like, I can't stand to be behind a computer for a long amount of time. My uncle does it. My uncle who adopted me, he does it. But I don't know how you can sit behind a computer and do stuff all day. Because I want to get up and move. I want to get up and do stuff.
Right, I would lose my mind, you know.
Oh, my goodness. When I took programming, I was good at it. I was just, an A student, but I was tired of it by the time I finished. And I only did, it was learning. It was knowing how to do it, stuff like that.
Right.
Not even, really working, but good Lord, I couldn't do it working. If I had, a deadline to do one of those things, that's way too much, on my plate for that. I couldn't do it.
Right.
Editing these videos for the podcast, it is tedious on some of them, like the last one. Very tedious because I'm going back and forth to edit, back and forth to edit. I can't sit behind that computer forever.
Right, a lot of time just sitting there and,
Oh, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
How'd you get into beekeeping? I meant to ask you that the other day.
I just had one of my friends down in Florida invited me over for dinner, and one of his friends was a second-generation beekeeper. So I just got to talking to him and said I'd like to do it. So the next day I quit my job and started beekeeping.
It's funny that you went from bees to dogs.
Right.
And dogs, when they bite, might be a little bit
bit more than bees, but I definitely got, stung by bees every day. It was very frequent.
Really? Did you ever get used to it?
I mean, you don't really get, yes and no. It depends on how many times. You're usually not just getting stung once if you're getting stung,
Well, it's funny. That is one of the most common questions that we hear here. If you've heard Grant talk about it, do you ever get used to getting bit by dogs? Nope. No, you don't get used to it. You just have that in the back of your mind. This could happen.
Right. It's going to happen. You're not scared of it. It's just part of the job. You have to accept it, and
People crack me up with that stuff too, because it's like I'll tell them I've been here for 4 years, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, how many times have you been bit?" 5 times, maybe, and 2 of them aren't even bad. The worst one I got was on the side of the arm, and one tooth just went into my skin, and then he pulled it out and he walked away. That was it. That was the worst that I got. It wasn't like he tore muscle off of my arm or nothing, but I can imagine bee stings. What is the difference between a hornet and bee sting? Is there a huge difference?
I haven't been stung by a hornet since I can remember, but
when I was playing soccer in high school, we were carrying a goal from one field to the next, and we went underneath a tree, hit a hornet's nest, the whole nest came down, hit the ground.
Oh, right.
Exploded, and we all got stung, and it was not nice at all. It didn't feel
right.
good.
There's definitely a big difference in getting stung by some bees and a colony attacking you.
Yeah.
That's an eerie feeling when you're in your suit and you've got thousands of bees attacking you.
Yeah, man. That is I remember when I was younger, one of the scariest stories that I ever heard was somebody stepped on one of those underground beehives.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what those are.
The underground hornets, probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, she got stung so many times, she passed away, and that was terrifying to me, especially going straight into Cub Scouts after hearing the story. I was 9 years old.
Right.
Did you collect honey when you did?
We did honey more as a byproduct. Our main focus was pollinations.
Oh, okay.
So we would go to farms and pollinate crops.
Oh, okay.
So we collected honey. We ran about 3,000 hives, and we'd pull 3,000 gallons of honey twice a year. But our main focus was pollinations.
That's pretty cool.
So we'd go all over the country, Wisconsin, California, drive our bees across the country on semi-trucks.
I thought it was just in Florida.
No.
You were driving places too.
Right, yeah, we were all over the place.
So do you like traveling? Because I know you had the boat.
Right. Yeah, I'm not afraid of traveling. I don't mind being away from home, It's just me, so I've got no reason to, if I am away for a month, that's no big deal.
Yeah. I know I love traveling too. It's one of those things. I'll tell you this, actually, Eric. I know you don't have any dogs, but when you do get a dog, that'll be you'll notice in those moments where you do go camping or hiking that it's really fun to have a dog there too.
Right. That's something I'd really like to do, because I love hiking, but to have, a companion with you is a different game,
Yeah. I took him for the first time hiking like a few months after I started here, because when I started here, have I told you how he was when I started here?
No.
He didn't like dogs. He didn't like people. To the point where, like, he was growling, wanting to bite him, lunging out, stuff like that. Not, like, too bad what you've seen, even in the past couple of weeks, really. But I wanted to take him hiking because that was one of my big, aspirations was starting training here. Before I even worked here, I wanted to just take him hiking, go camping with him, stuff like that. Take him as, like, our troop dog for Boy Scouts. And I ended up leaving Boy Scouts around that time because I was just getting so busy with working him, having my other job, stuff like that. But I took him camping, and I had a freaking blast. And I tell people this all the time because we tell clients constantly not to talk to your dog, not to because they don't understand conversation. They don't understand that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you this, I do it even now. I'll go camping and I'll tell Scout stories. I'll goof off with him. I'll joke around with him. And it's fun because I will also do what Grant does. Have you ever seen Grant talk for his dogs?
Yes.
That's one of the funniest things. I think he could be like a professional at it if he did it with other dogs. That's one thing. I think we should make like TikTok videos or Instagram videos of like Grant doing voiceovers for certain dogs.
Yes.
That would be really funny. But he'll talk for his dogs. I talk for Scout. So I'll tell him like, you better watch it, dude. You're going to walk over that cliff. And he'll reply and be like, screw it, Dad. I'm going to jump off. I don't know, something like that. But it is fun to take a companion like that out. Because I'm hoping, you've seen Juliet, I'm hoping to do the same with her, especially if I push her into search and rescue. Obviously, we're going to be going all kinds of places, but I want to be able to take her hiking. And to a dog, that is one of the most fun experiences. Because what we do, I'll let Scout drag his leash around, and he'll run 20, 30 yards in front of us, and I, expect the same rules from him. Hang out close, don't do anything that'll get you in trouble. But can you imagine how fun that is to him? He loves it. It's the best thing
He's
ever.
in his natural environment,
Mm-hmm. And that's, like I told you right before we started, Scout likes to pee on stuff. That's where he gets to pee on everything.
Right.
To the point where nothing even comes out of some, by the end of it.
Right.
He just hikes his leg because he thinks he's doing something. But you lived in Florida.
Yes.
How long did you live in Florida?
I was in Florida for about 6 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. You said you're 32?
I'm 31.
Oh, 31. Okay. I'm always getting you. Now you, Shayna, and Miranda are all in that, same age group,
right.
Grant's in there, too. He's just right below it. But, I'm going to get them mixed up all the time. But you were in the military for 7 years. Was part of that time in Florida?
No. So the whole time I was in the military, I was stationed at Fort Lewis out in Washington State, around the Tacoma area. And then I went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Okay.
And was with the 101st.
Oh, wow. Okay. I had no idea that you were in the military. That's wild. I can't believe I didn't know that, Or Grant didn't say anything about it. Yeah, I laughed because you said Tacoma. Have you ever seen the TV show Tacoma FD?
No.
I'm watching that right now, and it's one of the funniest, about firefighters. It's a comedy show. It's not, real.
Uh-huh.
But it is hilarious. One of the funniest shows I've ever seen. Have you ever seen Super Troopers?
I have.
Two of the characters from that.
They play in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they do an exceptional. If he needs to move, you can move.
No, he's good.
But they do great in this TV show. It's funny that you said Tacoma, too. Yeah. I didn't know that was in, you said Washington State?
In Washington State.
I didn't
About an hour south of Seattle.
Okay. How far is that from, I'm thinking wrong. I was about to say Portland. That's Oregon.
Right, it's north of Portland, a couple hours.
Okay. Have you ever been to Portland?
I never went down there, no.
Oh, okay. One of my favorite TV shows is, filmed there. It's called Grimm. It's about, a dude who hunts monsters kind of thing.
Right.
But, how come you don't have a dog? You didn't get one, after you got out of the Army.
Right. Well, I've been living on a boat for a long time.
Yeah.
And then when I started beekeeping, I bought a camper and moved into the swamps of Central Florida.
Yeah.
And I've just always been working. I've never really I've always wanted a dog, but never had the right time to have a dog. And right now, I'm living with my grandma, and she doesn't like big dogs.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I'm just not in a position to have a dog right now, but hopefully soon.
Yeah, I know. You told me about getting like Uhtred and Hella's one of their puppies.
Right.
That is Uhtred is Grant's dog, who is a Belgian Malinois Dutch Shepherd mix. Hella is a German Shepherd, who is, both of them are 110% dogs. They'll put all their energy into anything you ask of them. A dog from that, a puppy. Come here, dude. Get off his foot. Come here. Go. A puppy from that would be, one, an exceptional dog, but two, it would be a dog. You have
a real challenge, right? A real challenge.
And it is. Juliet's one of those dogs that is a working line dog. She is, in moments, on my nerves, irritating. She does certain things that bug me too much. If it's messing with him a lot, or if it's just won't sit down. Because I can sit in my living room, I can stay in my room doing something, right? Like actually editing one of these podcasts. I was in my room for like 2.5 hours. Didn't lay down at all. She's just pacing back and forth, chewing on toys, slinging them around, and she's got a lot of energy. And there was one time I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was playing like video games or something. But I look over at my door to the bedroom, and she's standing there, her head's down. I say her name 2-3 times, and I leaned back a little bit, and her eyes were closed. She fell asleep standing up. That's how you know. She just didn't want to lay down. She didn't want to do anything. It was crazy. It was funny. I wish I would have gotten a picture of it, but as soon as I moved my chair, she woke up.
Back up, right.
Do you have like a preference to dogs? Do you have like a favorite breed?
I think I would like a German Shepherd. Any larger dog, a working dog.
Yeah. I could totally see you with a German Shepherd too.
Yeah.
Annie and I talked about it last week. Some people are just like their dogs, right?
Right. I've definitely noticed that.
Yeah.
I've definitely noticed that.
Grant, Uhtred, Ziva, all three of them, I swear they could be siblings rather than it's mom or Grant being dad. I could see them all being just like a part of a sibling, rivalry kind of thing. The other day, actually, this is what makes me think of it. He was out there with a lesson, doing something, working on like hands-free on a long line, really pushing some rules outside of a training room, right? And Uhtred, goofing off with his ball, he brought it up to the fence as I was walking out, and I took it from him and then held it on one side of the fence. The dude climbed the fence. Have you seen him do that yet?
No.
He will scale the fence, get over the fence, and wait for you to throw it again. So I did, and he went back over the fence, and I could see Grant, and I've seen Grant jump over the fence over there, no problem. So him and Uhtred are like two peas in a pod.
Right. The dog mimics the owner's personality a lot of times.
Yeah.
You can see that for sure.
You can see it with Scout. He likes to sleep a lot. So do I. But he is getting to that age where he's mellowed out a lot. So that's why you see him sleeping a lot. If I take him into a lesson, he'll lay down on the floor. But he'll still listen to what I need him to do, which is really cool. It was actually one of those things. You asked me, where did I get him? I got him 3.5 hours away. Do you know where Terre Haute is?
Yes.
Do you know where Brazil, Indiana is?
No, but I know where Terre Haute is.
Okay. It's 30 minutes from Terre Haute.
Okay.
And Brazil is actually where David Goggins is from.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Which blew my mind because I read both of his books. And he talks about it, for the first half of his book. He's talking about, how he grew up there, stuff like that. But I didn't know that when I first got him. But we drove up there. I had no idea that I wanted a husky until like a month before we went and got him. And he was 4 weeks old. His name was originally Spike. And I decided to go get him because my beagle had passed away right before that as well. And I was like, in that, I'm really sad about one dog, passing away because I had him forever. His name was Copper. Typical beagle name, from Fox and the Hound.
Fox and the Hound, my favorite movie as a kid.
Yeah. I had him from 7 years old to 19 years old, 20 years old.
Okay.
And I decided to get a Scout because I saw him on Instagram on like an ad, like one of those Pet Finder ads. And I was like, Auntie, listen. This is like my dream dog. I would love to have a dog like this. And she was like, you know what? He's pretty cute. Let's send him a message, see if he's available. And we did, and they said, yep. So what happened was my birthday was coming up. I got him 8 days after my birthday, which is coming up. April 30th is when we got him. April 22nd is my birthday. When I messaged, she messaged them on her own and was like, hey, I wanted to see if this dog is available because I want to get him for my son. She, of course, calls me son because they adopted me, you know. And they told me he wasn't available, told her yes. So she made it seem like, oh, dang, you missed the opportunity,
right.
you know.
Right.
But then she told me on my birthday, you know, I'm 20 years old, felt like a little kid again. She told me, hey, you remember that dog you were looking at? We put a deposit on him that day, and they put like a $250 deposit because he was $750.
Okay.
And on April 30th, we went and got him. And they had been sending her pictures every week from 4 weeks old to 8 weeks old when we went and got him. Just like the progression pictures. And
right.
I have all those pictures, and they are, of course, stinking cute. But she showed me more pictures of him like on my birthday. Then we went and got him. We drove the 3.5 hours, and I'll tell you this, I have not had a gassier dog in my life. On the way back, I think it was the food that they were giving him. Obviously, you know, he's a young dog, and he's probably nervous to be riding in a car for the first time. 3.5 hours.
Right.
But I'm telling you, I had to stick my head out the window with tears streaking my eyes because it smelled so bad. It was the worst. But of course, you know, from 8 weeks old to 5 years old, he's still gassy, but he's a great dog. I brought him here around 11 months old, so
okay.
I had him for a while. Saw that he was a little bit of a troublemaker because I actually got him in 2020, so he is a COVID dog, and I had the expectation that most people had back then. It was, well, I have this free time now. I'm stuck at home. I don't have anything to do. I'll get a dog, and it'll be the best dog ever because I'll spend time with it and work
right.
with it, stuff like that. And I did work with him. He knew most formal commands. If you had a toy or a treat, that's typical, right? But he knew a lot of stuff when we came here. He just didn't want to show that he knew it.
Right. So you had gotten him before you started working here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I even started, like, I went through or part of the full obedience program before I started working here.
Really? Okay.
And I continued some of the lessons as I started working here. Because Mr. Duffy would put it in his book to, like, you know, teach me what to do. And I think that's one of the things that helped me progress to lessons so fast. Because within 4.5, 5 months of me working here, they threw me in my first lesson.
Okay.
And that was nerve-wracking for sure. But I had somebody else sat in there, Kat, when she worked here. She sat in on it just to make sure I didn't mess up or do anything wrong. But it was funny because I went and typed an entire, like, a guide to, like, this is what you talk about, this is what you do, stuff like that. And everybody who starts lessons now, they use that as a reference. So, like,
okay.
if you start doing lessons, they'll probably give it to you, you know, to guide you through that first
okay.
lesson. Have they said anything to you about, like, teaching lessons or anything?
No,
not yet. Of course, they want you to be able to handle the red, yellow dogs, the troublemakers. Obviously, you and Andrew are both built, you know, you can handle bigger dogs. You can, you know, focus on being a little bit stronger with some dogs that try to bite us, or dogs that are really just powerful behind the leash. And that is a lot of dogs, quite a few dogs. Even you had Adonis when he really went after
Jasper
yesterday, right?
Yes.
And he's a little pocket bully, but he is a strong son of a gun, and you can see it on him too. He's got a ton of muscle. What makes you not want to get like a pit bull or like Doberman?
I don't know. I've never really thought of those breeds as something I would have. Not for any reason in particular. I've just, I guess, always gravitated towards shepherds. Yeah. I could definitely see myself with a husky or something else along those lines. I just don't see, I like, there's a Doberman, I think his name is Duke.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's a really pretty dog, but I just, like you had gone back to, a lot of times owners pick a dog that almost kind of fits their personality or their looks, like the dog will look like the owner. I think the German Shepherd is just more of a fit for me.
I'm telling you, I could totally see it. Has your family German Shepherds before?
Yes, I grew up with a lot of dogs. Grant had a lot of dogs. Everyone in my family had dogs. I've had black labs, a shepherd, cocker spaniels, beagles, a lot of different breeds. But I think the German Shepherd is just the pinnacle of my, what a dog should be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's it's funny that you say that too, because Annie and I talked about this as well last week. Have you seen like a certain breed that you see, like even working here for 2 weeks, a breed that you say, wow, that's the most prominent dog breed that we see that needs training or that's here for training? Have you figured that out yet? Has anybody told you?
No.
Any kind of doodle.
A doodle.
Yep.
Okay.
Like golden doodle, pure
because
doodle.
Of their intelligence and.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they need work, and it's one of those things. It's not because they're bad. Some of them are, and that's any breed. But they have a lot of energy because they're mixed with something that could be a working dog, like a Newfoundland or a Great Pyrenees. I've seen it all. The golden doodles, Labradoodles, all of it. Right. A poodle is a dog that is supposed to do some work. They're smart dogs, but doodles are what you see the most often. But then you see German Shepherds right after that. And that's why you see so many German Shepherds, while you're here. I love every single one of them. I told people this before I started working here, I'd never seen a German Shepherd.
No?
Never. I've seen them in like movies, TV shows.
But never know anyone personally.
Yep, one. Never in real life. And I honestly thought, when I started here, I was like, I'm going to keep getting Huskies, and I will. I'm still going to have a Husky from now on, no matter what. Hopefully Scout lives forever, But I want a working dog as well. Huskies can be working dogs, but not here in, southern Indiana. I want a dog that, somebody comes into my house, they're going to let me know. They're going to, let that person know. They're going to be my backup, you know what I'm saying? Belgian Malinois, German Shepherd. German Shepherd have quickly risen in my ranks of that's one of my favorite dogs, especially Juliet. Her being just now turned a year old, I could do all kinds of stuff with her, and I knew it. Mr. Duffy and I talk about it all the time. With Savage, Juliet's brother, who knows what we could do with those dogs? Right. I could do search and rescue, which I want to. I could do protection work, bite work, all that stuff. And I could put on a sleeve and she bites it as soon as I tell her to. But I haven't taught her, growl at somebody, bark at somebody, stuff like that. And I think it'd be pretty easy. But a German Shepherd is a good dog to pick.
Search and rescue would definitely be something that I'd be interested in. Now, is that you would get like a FEMA certification, or you would be attached to FEMA in some way?
So we are actually going to do it through the Floyd County, I think it's like rescue something, right? One of our clients who has a therapy dog who travels around the area, Slate, if you ever see Slate, Slate's an exceptional German Shepherd who's a therapy dog. Rather than working to do search and rescue, stuff like that, he's therapy for you find the person, it's for the family, and that person, you know what I'm saying? Because Slate is he's a sweet dog, I'm telling you. If you ever see him, you're gonna love him, I'm telling you. But we are hopefully gonna be in their back pocket. If they say we need a couple dogs, Mr. Duffy, me, we're gonna go out there, and we're also gonna have a backup for that. If I'm busy, my uncle, he's gonna be the handler for Juliet when he goes out, to the forestry or wherever here.
Right.
But like I think Mr. Duffy, if he does it, I think he wanted Grant to be his backup. But if that is something you were interested in, if you get a dog, let us know. Because scent detection, just getting dogs to find certain scents, is one of the most fun things I've ever experienced. Did Grant tell you about the dog that we got to smell mold?
No.
Daisy was a black and white border collie, an exceptional dog. With her, I loved her. When she started here, scared of the world. I think 2 months, no, a month, and then we took a break. We went through manners, formal commands, and did a little bit of scent introduction to mold. Like, you have mold in your house.
Black mold
yeah,
and things like that. Yeah.
Did you know mold smells like blue cheese? Makes sense.
Makes sense.
When we would use that stuff, the mold, we would smell it, and it'd be on our gloves and stuff, and we'd smell the gloves. It smelled just like blue cheese, which is funny because I love blue cheese. Yeah, it's a man's dipping for chicken wings, right? Just kidding, but we do love it. We do love it. With her, it took us a month and a half maybe to get her to find like just the minute amount of mold. We would put it underneath window seals. We'd put it like in this end table, and she'd go sit next to it and wait for us to give her a reward. But she was exceptional, and it's got it. And really, what you'll notice with that stuff, it is about having fun rather than you have to find this or you're gonna get in trouble. It's you're gonna get your ball when you find it.
Right, you get a reward.
That's right.
It's more of a game, a hide and seek game.
Exactly. With her, it was so quick because we spent that first month building a drive for like a toy, a ball, or something for her to chase, and that was quick. It was no problem. Grant did most of that. We had another guy here, Greg, who was awesome. Greg did the same kind of stuff, and then I joined, like I hopped on to help, like, I don't know, maybe halfway through it, because that's when we started using the scent boxes, and we started hiding it places behind corners, behind rugs, or underneath rugs, stuff like that. And she was quick to pick that up, and that blew my mind, because what they would do is the thing would be in a room, the mold would be in a room, and they would hide it. I'd be outside with Daisy, goofing off with her, playing with her. I didn't even know where it was. So when she would stop and sit, dang, that was pretty cool. One of my first days here, Mr. Duffy took me out to the front with one of his lessons. It's actually Uhtred's mom, Echo, if you've ever seen her. She's a Belgian Malinois. She's fantastic. But they did scent detection as well. Tracking is what they did. We went outside while it was pouring down rain to track for something, and she did it. And I mean, like, pouring down rain like what it's doing now. Like, for days it was pouring down, and it blew my mind that she did that.
Impressive.
That was really cool. But like I said, if that is something you want to get into, you let us know. Because we are really about to start to push that with Jules. Because she's at that age now. She's mature enough to really figure it out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And her ball drive is insane. Because have you seen me like throwing the ball with her out front or anything?
I have not yet.
As soon as she sees like a glimpse of the ball, she starts barking because she's so pumped up to do it. And that's, for search and rescue, I want her to do that when she finds whatever she needs to find.
Right. Needs to have the ball drive.
Because even though she found the person, she may lick them in the face, she's still just waiting for that ball to be thrown.
Right.
She did good, you know? And it's funny, every dog knows that they do good in those moments. But what kind of questions do you have about like the training that we do that you've seen so far? Like anything specific when it comes to like service dogs, the therapy dogs, the red, yellow dogs, anything like that?
Right, yeah, I haven't really got to see, I know Jana works a lot with the service dogs. I haven't got to see her really work yet. But it's definitely an interesting aspect. I'm sure there's all kinds of different service dogs.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen Miranda work with a service dog for someone who has seizures and protecting her head,
Right.
getting down underneath her, which is super cool.
It's funny. They do so much work behind the scenes. I do a lot of those lessons, like working with the parents, stuff like that. That is super fun every time I do it because they're seeing what a dog can do for them, and it blows a lot of people's minds. You know?
Right.
Jana and Miranda are exceptional at it. Being what I am, a service dog coordinator, overseeing it all, it's funny when I teach the lesson and one of the dogs does something, and I'm like, I forgot Miranda taught him that, and it was like the dog figured it out that quick.
Right.
You know, super cool. We do. Has anybody told you about like our service dogs for veterans, anything like that?
I've heard that you do them. Haven't seen any of it in action yet.
Well, Buck, Beretta, and Izzy are all going to veterans.
Okay.
Hopefully here soon. I know actually, Beretta goes home next week. I think on Thursday. So for the first time ever, this dog, Beretta, from a shelter, who's like a hound mix, beagle, something. She's going home to her first home with an older gentleman who is really cool. He had a service dog because he is a veteran. He had a service dog for 8 or 9 years, and he's just, he's hit that age where he can't provide the tasks that, Dad needs from him every single day. But Beretta's going to him next week, so I'm pumped up about that.
Right, that's super cool.
That's one thing you'll feel. Once you start really working the red and yellow dogs, you're going to get a service dog. You're going to get a dog that you'll start with, and you'll do all that training. And of course, I'll tell you this: if you have any questions about that stuff, ask away.
Right.
And like if you say, "Who's this dog going to?" Whichever dog it is, ask me. I got you, because I can give you the list of this is what the dog needs to do for that person every single day, whatever task it may be. But I'll tell you this: it is some fun stuff.
Right.
Once you get to it, it's gonna be fun. And I'll tell you, I'm a man of men. All right, man of men. But when I give a service dog to a veteran who has some of the highest PTSD, or they have struggled with it for so long, and they shed a tear because of this dog is going to be their best friend, their companion, their co-pilot, what they say. Good Lord, that's
right.
Tough.
Pulls at your heartstrings.
Oh, I'm telling you. One of them, and I won't say any names, but one of them, we gave him a service dog, a fantastic dog, and he sent us an email, a whole long, could have been half a book email to Mr. Duffy, me, and Amanda, thanking us, because if he hadn't got this dog, he said it in the message, if I hadn't got this dog and I had it now, I wouldn't have been here 6 months ago.
Right.
Period. On Earth.
Right.
Gone. That, good Lord, I was reading that, tearing up, and then I'd have to wipe my eyes and be like, I gotta read it, But he was a really nice guy. But do you have anything else you'd like to talk about? Anything you think you want to ask for anything?
Not off the top of my head.
Well, I'll probably have you on here, more than just now.
Right.
Because I want to have everybody on here. I want to introduce everybody, but I also want, maybe one day we have like 6 people on here. We're
Right.
all talking, But hopefully you do get a German Shepherd. That
Yeah.
would be very cool if you got a Shepherd. I'll tell you, if you ever say, I think I want to get one now, we can hit up Teresa where I got Juliet. I bet she'd get a puppy for you because she's super cool.
Okay.
And that's the working DDR shepherds. I actually looked up the definition of a DDR shepherd the other day because I looked it up when I first got her, but then I forgot it. Went over my head. Completely forgot. But they're short, stout, muscular, but they're one of the highest working lines overseas. That's why I like Juliet so much, because I was so happy to get her. Have I told you about how I got her?
No.
Teresa with Bluegrass German Shepherd sells her puppies for like $3,000 to $3,500.
Okay.
She sent me a text, I think a week before I got Juliet. She said, Scotty, just want to let you know, and it was a puppy in a video goofing off, and she's talking while the video's playing. She said, wanted to let you know Juliet is available. She was brought back to us within 24 hours of the person getting her. She was brought back because she was too much already. So I read that and I was like, ooh, I don't know, that's gonna be a lot, you know. And then she said they paid $3,500 for her, but they told us to keep the money, blah blah blah. So I was like, I don't know if I want to pay that much for her right now. I couldn't actually. There wasn't. I don't know. I couldn't pay that much for her because I'm 25 years old, 24 then. I couldn't afford that. That's a lot of money for a dog, right? But I said, if you give me a discount, I'll put her on social media. I'll put her on TikTok, Instagram, and the next text she sent to me, the first sentence, to you, she's free. And I spent the entire week that week, Auntie, please. This is a good dog. Right. This is, I'll handle her. Right. Let's make a deal. You won't have to deal with her because, Auntie knew she was going to be wild and crazy. But I told her on Wednesday, I believe, because I kept convincing my aunt even after Wednesday, or trying to convince her. I told her Wednesday, I was like, I'll be there Sunday to pick her up at like 1 o'clock. So my uncle and I went out there, picked her up, completely free, $3,500 working dog, who is excellent. So thank you, Teresa. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask away. You'll see Eric and I constantly at Duffy's. But if you want to call, ask questions, feel free to give us a call. The website is linked below. But if you do have any questions, feel free to give us a call. Let us know. Other than that, thanks for watching. We're going to keep on doing this. We're going to keep chugging away. At every week, we're going to do a podcast. And the one with Annie and I, that's going to be posted pretty soon. So other than that, thanks for watching. You guys have a great day.